When I think back to that day, it almost feels like it wasn't real, like I was watching someone else's life unfold in slow motion. But it was me. My name is Ethan Miller, and this is the story of the day everything in my family changed. I was a 20-year-old college student, back home for spring break. My dad had remarried a few years earlier to a woman named Claire, who became my stepmom. At first, things were tense between us. I was still adjusting to the idea of another woman living in our house, filling the space my mom used to occupy before she and dad divorced. But over time, Claire proved herself to be kind and patient, and she never tried to force herself into a role I wasn't ready to give her. She didn't demand that I call her mom or act like nothing had happened. Instead, she found small ways to make me feel cared for, packing me snacks when I left for classes, cheering at my baseball games, even staying up late to proofread some of my essays. Slowly, I started seeing her less as the new wife and more as someone who genuinely cared about me. That spring break, though, things took a complicated turn. I had been working on a music project with my best friend, Josh. We were trying to produce an original song. He handled most of the mixing, and I wrote the lyrics and sang. One night, Josh came over, and we set up in my room with my laptop, microphone, and guitar. We were recording late into the night, trying to nail down a difficult chorus. My voice cracked several times, and at one point I got so frustrated that I threw myself dramatically back on the bed, groaning like the world had ended. Josh laughed and flopped onto the floor, strumming random chords. Man, if we don't get this right, we're never going to release this track. I sat up, hair a mess, sweat dripping down my face, and said, "Yeah, but if we do, this could be the one that finally gets us noticed." We started singing together, harmonizing, and for once it felt right. Our voices blended in a way that gave me chills. Without thinking, I grabbed my phone to record a video of the moment. We were laughing, leaning in close, hitting high notes, clapping between takes. It looked like two best friends sharing something they loved, but from the wrong angle, it could look like something else entirely. That's exactly when the door opened. Claire walked in, holding a basket of folded laundry. Her eyes widened as she froze in the doorway, staring at Josh and me, who at that moment were practically shoulder to shoulder, belting out lyrics with dramatic gestures. Josh had his arms slung over my shoulder, and I was laughing so hard my face was red. The sight must have been confusing. Sorry, Claire said quickly, backing up. Didn't mean to interrupt. Her cheeks flushed as she set the basket down on the hallway floor and closed the door in a rush. I blinked. Josh stopped strumming. For a second, we just sat there in stunned silence. Then Josh burst out laughing. "Dude, she totally thinks we were, you know." I buried my face in my hands, groaning. No, this is the worst timing ever. We tried to laugh it off, but I couldn't shake the embarrassed knot in my stomach. Claire had walked in at exactly the wrong moment, and now I was worried about what she thought. The next morning at breakfast, Dad was reading the newspaper while Claire made pancakes. She glanced at me a few times, her expression unreadable. I avoided her eyes, shoving scrambled eggs into my mouth as if they held the answers to life's problems. Finally, she said, "Ethan, can I talk to you for a moment after breakfast?" My heart sank. Josh had already left early that morning, so I couldn't lean on him for backup. When Dad left for work, Claire set down her spatula and sat across from me at the kitchen table. "Listen," she began, her voice gentle, "about last night. I want you to know you don't have to hide anything from me." My jaw dropped. "Wait, what?" "No, it wasn't what it looked like. Josh and I were just recording music. He's my best friend, that's all." Claire tilted her head, clearly skeptical, but trying to be supportive. "Ethan, it's okay. I just want you to know that whoever you are, or whoever you care about, I'll always accept you." For a moment, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The misunderstanding was so big, so absurd, yet it came from such a place of kindness that I couldn't even be mad. I shook my head furiously. "No, really, you've got it wrong. We're working on a song. That's it. Want to hear it?" To prove my point, I grabbed my laptop, opened the file, and played back our recording. Claire listened carefully, her eyebrows slowly lifting in surprise. When the track ended, she laughed, covering her face. "Oh my gosh," she said between giggles. "I can't believe I thought. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I completely misunderstood." Relief flooded me, and soon I was laughing too. "You seriously thought Josh and I?" She shrugged, still smiling sheepishly. "Well, you were very close, and I walked in right as you were performing, I guess." I panicked. "But wow, this is actually really good. You too have talent." That moment changed everything. Instead of being an awkward disaster, it became a bridge between us. For the first time, Claire showed genuine interest in something I loved. She asked questions about the lyrics, the melodies, the mixing. She even suggested that we perform at a local coffeehouse open mic night she'd heard about. At first, I brushed it off. Performing live scared me, and I wasn't sure Josh would agree. But when I told him about it later, he surprised me by saying yes. Why not? If your stepmom believes in us, maybe it's time we take a shot. The next few weeks were a blur of rehearsals, late-night practice sessions, and nervous anticipation. Claire became our biggest supporter. She printed flyers, helped us pick outfits, and even gave us pep talks when we doubted ourselves. Finally, the night of the performance came. The coffee house was packed with students, parents, and locals. My heart pounded as Josh and I took the stage. I glanced out into the crowd and saw Claire and Dad sitting together, smiling proudly. That sight gave me courage. We sang our song, the one we had struggled over, the one that had caused the misunderstanding, and when we finished, the room erupted in applause. People clapped, cheered, even asked for more. I couldn't stop smiling. Afterward, Claire hugged me tightly. "See? I knew you had it in you." It struck me then how far we'd come. Just weeks earlier, I'd been mortified by the thought of her misunderstanding me. But now, I was grateful she had walked in at the worst time because it led to something so much better. It gave us a connection we hadn't had before. That night, as we drove home, Dad said, "I'm proud of you, son." And Claire added softly, "Me too." I realized then that families aren't built on perfect moments. They're built on messy, awkward, sometimes embarrassing ones that somehow bring people closer. Claire had walked in at the worst time, but what happened next turned out to be one of the best things in my life. And maybe that's the funny thing about timing. Even when it feels wrong, it can still lead you exactly where you're meant to be.